You've been following the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively thing?
Bro, Blake Lively, talk about ruining your reputation, and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, they fucked up. Ryan's trying to get out of it now. He's trying to get out of the lawsuit, and they're like, you were a key part of this.
This is what you get, though. This is what you get. You're trying to fucking ruin a guy's livelihood by using the Me Too movement?
Because they were trying to take over the movie.
Yeah.
They were trying to take over the movie and the whole franchise. He owned the franchise.
Wait, people forget this was a franchise. It's a couple books.
The whole thing's crazy.
They're fucked.
And he's suing the New York Times, and he's got a great case.
He's going hard in the paint. But that's what it takes.
That's what it takes.
It's like Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
He's like, all right.
Yeah.
He did it for the boys.
Exactly. You got to do it.
You need real motherfuckers to be like, nah, man, I ain't going out like this.
Yeah, especially a guy like that. It was like known as being like this really sweet, nice guy.
Yep.
And then it's like, all right,
dude, he posted the receipts.
Oh,
he's like, oh, remember our tech exchange? Bah, bah,
how about she told him to come into the dressing room while she was breastfeeding? And then part of the complaint was that he came into the dressing room while I was breastfeeding. Like, you literally have a text exchange back and forth. They just never thought that anybody was going to come out with the receipts.
Because no one's ever done it, because everyone usually just bows down.
Because everyone's scared.
Yeah.
Because Ryan Reynolds, A-list, Blake Lively, A-list. Like, they're the queens.
That's like eating.
Joe Rogan has sparked major controversy after making a stunning claim about Blake Lively that has sent shockwaves through Hollywood. What started as light conversation on a recent podcast reportedly took a dramatic turn when Rogan alleged troubling details about her relationship with Ryan Reynolds, claims that insiders are now rushing to downplay. The situation escalated further when Rogan suggested he had evidence pointing to a secret connection between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, causing her carefully crafted public image to unravel rapidly as the fallout threatens to upend her career and everything she has worked to build.
Mail is now coming forward and saying the real truth, the heartbreaking truth behind the dramatic look is this. The father of two unveiled his new surprising look last week, shortly after admitting he was exhausted from a year of emotional stress. He's been spending time with his children in Hawaii with his wife, and he debuted this edgy haircut, stark contrast from his character in the movie. Now, sources have revealed after struggling with the huge toll on his physical and mental health, Baldoni was prompted to make big changes. Justin's physical and mental well-being was severely impacted by this. An insider told Daily Mail it's extremely disturbing for him to look back at photos of himself from last summer when all this was going on. Now, look, I can relate to this. I'm sure a lot of you watching can. When you need a change to your emotional state and being and you're stuck, a haircut can actually really do that. If you have your typical look and you actually shave it off or grow it out or dye it or do something crazy to it, it really can change your point of view of, okay, we're starting a new phase. We're doing something else. For the longest time, I had a ponytail through high school. And then I had a moment, and it was a very traumatic, emotional moment for me. And I made a point to cut it all off. I was like, I got to.
Did you catch what Joe Rogan allegedly said about Blake Lively on his podcast? Or did you only skim the headlines and miss the bigger picture? Episode 1984 of the Joe Rogan Experience reportedly sent shockwaves through Hollywood when what began as a lighthearted discussion about celebrity power couples took an unexpected turn toward Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, long seen as the picture-perfect pair known for red carpet charm, playful social media banter, and apparent marital bliss. However, according to Rogan, the tone shifted when he suggested he had seen private text messages attributed to Blake and shared by industry insiders. Messages he claimed revealed a far more complicated reality, including long-standing frustrations and feelings of being overshadowed by Ryan's rising career, with one particular text, as he described it, standing out as especially revealing and changing how some might view their relationship. Claims that have since fueled intense speculation and debate. "I can't keep living in his shadow while pretending everything's perfect," was the line Joe Rogan highlighted, framing it as far more than a passing celebrity anecdote, and instead a revelation with serious implications, made even more explosive by its timing, as his podcast aired while Blake Lively was reportedly facing growing tension on her latest project, causing long-rumored whispers of creative conflict to suddenly seem more plausible. Rogan emphasized that these were not isolated complaints, but messages he claimed revealed a deep personal and professional struggle unfolding behind the scenes for for years. And within hours, the episode ignited social media, with clips spreading rapidly, platforms buzzing with reactions, creators dissecting every word, and the show soaring to the top of podcast charts as Hollywood allegedly went into panic mode, prompting reports that Blake's PR team scrambled for damage control by reaching out to journalists and offering favorable coverage to counter the narrative. Yet, just as the frenzy threatened to settle, Rogan reportedly escalated matters by claiming the messages also exposed a calculated career strategy, suggesting Blake had leveraged Ryan Reynolds' fame and connections to advance her own projects, while publicly maintaining a self-made image. A claim that has since recast years of public appearances, social media moments, and red carpet charm as potentially strategic rather than organic, leaving fans and insiders rewatching old footage with fresh skepticism and questioning how much of her carefully polished brand was authentic and what else might still be hidden behind the curtain.
To a lot of people, sure, he's clearly got this darker side where he wants to have control of his projects, but in a weird way, I with Deadpool, the way he took over Deadpool, I kind of understand where he went, and it seems like he did make amends with Tim Miller, from what I've gathered. So I'm not on the hate Ryan Reynolds train like everybody else, because he may be being fed something else. He may, when he took over Deadpool, that really was his character, his voice. Like, he has to own that. Now, I think he could have treated Tim Miller better, of course. I think Tim Miller would admit that as well. But from what I've gathered, Tim Miller is apparently good with all of it. Tim Miller doesn't want to be involved in any of this nonsense. And Tim Miller's not jumping up and down, jumping and saying that, yes, let's torch Ryan Reynolds. Look what he did to me. So I'm not as mad at him. I know everybody else is, and you guys can be, but I'm still hung up on this idea of, like, why is he buying this? Why is he allowed to go? Now, she's the mother of his children, so yeah, that's a fair reason. He's in love with her. They've been together for quite some time. They are seemingly committed to their things. They talk all the time, yada yada yada. He is a loyal guy, apparently, unless you're shooting Green Lantern and you're with Scarlett Johansson. But aside from all that, the rumors even there were that she didn't want to have kids, and he did, and so look. Is Ryan Reynolds really that stupid? This is the question.
Those carefully staged couple moments, according to claims discussed on Joe Rogan's widely talked about podcast, may have only scratched the surface of a far more complex and unsettling dynamic, with Rogan suggesting that behind the glossy, envy-inducing image of Hollywood's golden couple lies a power structure few expected. One in which Blake Lively, not Ryan Reynolds, is said to hold the reins. While fans long embrace the illusion created by matching Instagram posts, playful interviews, and lighthearted talk show banter, Rogan cited unnamed insiders who allegedly described a very different behind-the-scenes reality, including production staff from multiple film sets who claimed the atmosphere became tense and tightly controlled whenever both Blake and Ryan were involved. With one source asserting that in joint meetings, Blake often took charge, interrupted Ryan, overruled his ideas, and steered discussions when executives were present. And Rogan further alleged that this influence extended beyond work into Ryan's personal career decisions, claiming that she reviewed his potential roles and even vetoed projects that would have paired him with certain actresses, assertions that, if true, radically challenge the long-held perception of their relationship and have fueled intense debate about how much of their public image reflects reality versus careful management. According to claims discussed on Joe Rogan's podcast and attributed to unnamed insiders, Blake Lively's influence may extend even further than previously suggested, with reports alleging that 2 A-list actresses were dropped from one of Ryan Reynolds' major franchises after Blake raised concerns, intensifying speculation about the true extent of her control. Moments once seen as playful, like Ryan joking about being banished to the couch, or Blake humorously cropping him out of photos, are now being reinterpreted by critics as subtle power signals rather than harmless fun. And Rogan went on to cite former household assistants who allegedly claimed Blake tightly managed nearly every aspect of Ryan's public life, from press appearances and wardrobe choices to haircuts, sometimes requiring him to text her during events to double-check responses to ensure they aligned with the couple's carefully curated image. while sources close to Ryan reportedly told Rogan that although he loves Blake, he has privately expressed feeling restricted, saying every move seemed to require pre-approval, a dynamic some believe explains his growing focus on business ventures where he enjoys greater independence. Adding to the scrutiny, Rogan claimed to have seen messages between Blake and her publicists outlining a media strategy designed to promote her as an independent powerhouse while still benefiting from the couple's shared fame, subtly linking her projects to their relationship without appearing reliant on Ryan. Assertions that have led fans and industry insiders to question whether Hollywood's most beloved couple is a genuine love story or a meticulously managed power structure, and to view the Reynolds Lively brand in an entirely new light.
Brandon Schraub and Joe Rogan are talking about the Justin Baldoni case.
Wild. You've been following the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively thing?
Bro, Blake Lively, talk about ruining your reputation, and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, they fucked up. Ryan's trying to get out of it now. He's trying to get out of the lawsuit, and they're like, you were a key part of this.
This is what you get, though. This is what you get. You're trying to fucking ruin a guy's livelihood by using the Me Too movement?
Because they were trying to take over the movie.
Yeah.
They were trying to take over the movie and the whole franchise. He owned the franchise.
Wait, people forget this was a franchise. It's a couple books.
The whole thing's crazy.
They're fucked.
And he's suing the New York Times, and he's got a great case.
He's going hard in the paint. But
He
that's
should.
what it takes.
It's what it takes.
It's like Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
He's like, all right.
Yeah.
He did for the boys.
Exactly. You got to do it.
You need real motherfuckers to be like, nah, man, I ain't going out like this.
Yeah, especially a guy like that who's like known as being like this really sweet, nice guy.
Yep.
And then it's like, all right,
Dude,
enough.
he posted the receipts.
Oh,
he's
the
like, oh,
receipts are
remember our
crazy.
text exchange?
How about she told him to come into the dressing room while she was breastfeeding,
With a fun
and then
ass.
part of the complaint was that he came into the dressing room while I was breastfeeding. Like, you literally have a text exchange back and forth. They just never thought that anybody was going to come out with the receipts.
Because no one's ever done it. Because everyone usually just bows
Because everyone's
down.
scared.
Yeah.
Because Ryan Reynolds A-list, Blake Lively A-list. Like, they're the queens.
That's like eating.
Oh.
That's it. He gets interrupted, but I would love to hear Joe keep going on that because it's such a good point. Yeah, look, we're learning that with our documentary. A lot of people are afraid to come forward and afraid.
According to claims attributed to Joe Rogan's sources, Blake Lively's alleged need for control is said to extend beyond her marriage into her professional life, with the troubled production of It Ends With Us described not as a simple case of creative differences, but as a behind-the-scenes power struggle that derailed what was meant to be her major reinvention. As insiders claimed, she attempted to take control of the project by undermining director and co-star Justin Baldoni, frequently pushing script changes, invoking her producer status when challenged, and exerting influence over intimate scenes by dictating lighting, angles, and choreography, with sources alleging she later expressed frustration in private messages about Baldoni's direction, while witnesses on set claimed her public narrative contradicted what they observed, ultimately leaving the crew divided, fearful of choosing sides, and watching the story shift after filming wrapped as Baldoni was allegedly recast as the problem, a pattern longtime colleagues told Rogan fit her history of reframing narratives when her authority is questioned. A control-driven approach, Rogan further suggested, also shapes the carefully managed public image she and Ryan Reynolds present as a private, protective family brand, one that appears organic on the surface, but, according to these accounts, is executed with meticulous precision behind the scenes.